Hallöchen Kinders and welcome to a new studio vlog. My name is Lina and this week we're actually not gonna do that many different things. In the last couple of vlogs there was a lot of stuff going on, but this week is gonna be a little bit more relaxed. As I showed you guys at the end of the last vlog, some of my new pins have arrived that I want to restock in my shop. So today we're gonna take care of grading them and putting them on their backing cards. Also, before I forget about it, we reached 500 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy a lot of you followed me from a different platform on this platform and listening to my rambling. We're gonna start out with cutting some corners on my backing cards. They normally look like this when they arrive. You can get the company I order them from to cut the corners, but it costs like 20 euros extra or 10. And I'm not willing to pay that. When I started out doing corner cutting, I got like some of these. They are by hand. You press them down and then it makes a corner for you. Since I actually order a lot more pins these days, normally around big quantities like 1,000 or 2,000. Doing this by hand takes a lot of time because you need to do all 4 corners individually and then you can start out with the next backing card. I also have like a automatic bigger cutter which can take like stacks of 50 or something. So it can take up to this much at a time, maybe even a little bit more. Maybe like this, which is really cool, but the thing is I actually don't use it as often. We still do a lot of this by hand because the automatic or the bigger corner cutter, sadly, has only one setting for the corners and how round they are. So this one is a large corner cutter, so it makes round corners or edges. Let me show you, you can see it one more time. This one is very big, and this one, as you can see, it says small. This one makes narrower corners. So I hope you guys can see the difference, how tight the corner is here and how big the corner is here. And my automatic or my bigger machine I have for that only does the tight corners, the small ones. And I don't like them as much as the big ones. It looks a lot better. So I need to go online and see if I can find an extra attachment or blade you can buy for it. So I hopefully can use it in the future to make bigger corners because I just think they look a little bit prettier. But I haven't done that until now, so actually I don't use that machine nearly as often as I should. I mostly just use the one by hand, but it gets really tiring over time. But we're gonna do a few of these and then we're gonna have a look at some of the pins and put them on their backing. Just so I also quickly show you, this is what the big boy looks like. We're gonna put these in here. I just noticed I have had this guy the whole time. So I actually do have a large corner cutter knife for this one. Never mind, that's good to know. That means I have had that for like 2 years. So just to finish up this conversation, because it's starting to get embarrassing for me. These ones you can get very cheap, so if you don't have a lot of money or want to save on money, these ones cost like 10 to 15 bucks. I have an Amazon list that I finally made with products down below, so if you want to check them out, you can there. And this one is a little bit more expensive. If you want to get one of these, I think they are like 70 to 100 euros. But they are really good. As I said, you can stack up multiple ones at a time and then make a corner for them. And it looks like this. So you see there's a small corner up here and this one doesn't have a corner yet. I'm very glad we got that topic out of the way. Oh my god. I don't know why my manufacturer puts these in 2 sleeves now. Normally all my enamel pins arrive like this. They come in like plastic packaging, which I'm already not the biggest fan of because, well, it's a lot of plastic. I normally try to figure out something to reuse these afterwards, but I have a lot of them. But I already don't love it because it's a lot of plastic, but now she also puts them in these. So I need to ask them next time to not do that. I understand why they do that, to make sure that they are properly protected. It also sucks for them if a package arrives damaged, because often customers or small businesses then reach out to the manufacturer and say like, hey, I would like some of the cost back because something got damaged. I understand that, but that's so much plastic and it's an extra step for me again. Because now I not only need to get them out of this one first, I also need to get them out of the packaging again, Jesus. I always order around at least 100, and I think this time we have around 700-800 to go through. I also know a few of you might maybe be interested in making enamel pins yourself. I know some of the people who watch me have small businesses as well. If you are interested in it, we could talk a little bit about the manufacturing process of these. I have been doing this for 4 years now, 4.5 years. This was my first product ever in my shop. Before I even made stickers or keychains, I made enamel pins. That was the first product I made. I like to believe I know a thing or two, and maybe it will help you too. Okay, let's start on the pin grading. I basically look at each individual pin and look for some flaws on the pin. They will not be thrown out, but will be discounted and be sold as B grades. An A grade should have no visible flaws. I normally say like from a distance of around this much, I don't know, 30-40 centimeters. If you can't see any big visible flaws, I normally put it in as an A grade. Since enamel pins are handmade, there's always a chance that the pin has minor flaws. But if I would put every pin aside that has minor flaws, absolute minimal flaws, I would maybe be left with 3 perfect pins. Otherwise, pins can always have like a tiny imperfection. Most of them are so not noticeable that you can still sell them as A grade, but if there are noticeable flaws, I sell them as B grade. And let's take a little break to quickly take my press-on nails off. I think we are far along into the video at this point that I left a good impression, and so did my hands. The reason why I stopped doing acrylic sets or gel sets is literally because they get so much in the way when you're doing enamel pins. You're grading them and doing the backing cuts and stuff like that. It always looks so extremely satisfying when you're done with one pin. Oh, looks so good. So these are the first 100 pins for librarian bun that we did. But to not bore you any further, I think we should talk about making enamel pins again. There's obviously a lot of different types of pins that you can make. You can make clay pins that you make at home. You can get acrylic pins or wooden pins. But we're just gonna talk about enamel pins, and there's 2 different types of enamel pins you normally can choose from, and that is soft and hard enamel pin. All the pins that I'm selling in my shop are hard enamel pins, and I actually never manufactured a soft enamel pin, but I have one. The biggest difference is that you have visible ridges, and when you touch the enamel pin, you can see that you can feel that the surface is not even. You should also be able to see it in the light, that it's reflecting, that the areas with the colors are not as raised as the outline. That's the biggest difference. The manufacturing process is almost the same, but making hard enamel pins takes a little bit longer, while soft enamel pins are easier to manufacture. That's also why soft enamel pins are normally cheaper in production than hard enamel pins. You can see this one does not have those ridges and everything is very even. What you can do for soft enamel pins is when you get these manufacturers, you can get another layer of epoxy poured on top, so they also have a smooth finish. And I know a few creators and small businesses who do that, but I just like the feel of hard enamel pins so much better, so that's what I normally get. Since you now know the difference between soft and hard enamel pins, it's more of a question which one you like better and which one you want to go for. As mentioned, soft enamel pins are a little bit cheaper in production, and if you like the way they look, you can definitely go for them. But in this video, I'm only gonna mention hard enamel pins from now on, as those are the ones that I make. And this is the only thing I actually have knowledge about and can speak on. Most pins are made of zinc alloy or iron. A lot of them get coated in different colors. As you can see, these ones are rose gold plated, and you can also get gold plating, you can get black nickel plating, and so on. They all look a little bit different, and it highly depends on what kind of design you have to figure out which one works best with your pin. As an example, this one is gold plated, this one is rose gold, and this one is black nickel as the outline. If you want to work with a manufacturer to make enamel pins, you will first of all get a mold made. That mold is actually used to later on stamp your pin design into the metal. A lot of people when they are starting out actually don't know that, but you will have to pay an extra fee for the mold. So you're not only just paying for each pin that you are getting made, you also pay for a mold for each design that you want to get manufactured. Depending on the size of your pin and how complicated it is, a mold fee can range anywhere between $50 to $300 per design. The mold, as I said, is then used to make the pins, and the pins are getting made by filling up each area with syringes and color. On top of that, you will have to pay a unit price for each pin, obviously. Let's just say this one cost me $4 per pin, but then the cost can even go higher when you add stuff like screen printing or backstamping. Here's the example of what a backstamp is. It could be your logo or a name that you attach to the back of the enamel pin. And here's an example of what screen printing is. You can see it here at the blush, that the blush doesn't have a metal outline. The ears do have one, and this one doesn't. It's just color. And this is called screen printing on top of your pin. This is done manually after the pin has been made, and this could also increase the price of your enamel pin. There is somebody who wants to join. He is still waiting for more food. Oh, he hates when I film him. Now he's running away. I'm done with the grading for the nurse bun pin, and I actually didn't find a single B grade pin. Cutie! So now I have a little army of enamel pins. They look so cute. Really happy that this batch was so good. I'm gonna do a double take while I'm doing the backing cuts, just in case I overlooked something, but these were all so good. Because I think I didn't mention this before, but as I said, this little device is to remove the clutches, and it's from a small business themselves. They invented this thing to remove clutches from enamel pins, and they are called, I think, Galloway Labs, and you can find them on Etsy, so you know where to look for to buy one of these. But if you are in Germany or within the EU itself, I think they don't ship to you. So you can alternatively buy the blueprints for this, and then you can get this 3D printed. But I'm gonna leave their shop in the descriptions as well, because this one is really, really cool. It's so good. Saves you a ton of time if you wanna make enamel pins. And I think their work and creativity should be supported. So I'm gonna leave a link for you guys so you can check them out. So once you figured out what your design should be and what kind of metal you want to use, you want to order your enamel pin. But before you can do that, know that most manufacturers actually do have something called an MOQ. And I've talked about this before in other videos. An MOQ is a minimum order quantity. So that means the minimum amount of units you will have to buy from a manufacturer for them to work with you. When making, for example, keychains, acrylic keychains or prints, the MOQs you can get are as small as basically one. I want one keychain. And there are companies who will do that for you. But for the mass production of enamel pins, making a single enamel pin is just simply not worth it for the manufacturer, and is way too time consuming and would be way too expensive for you as well, that they just say, no, we don't want to do that. Most manufacturers will work with an MOQ of 50 or 100. So that means that if you want to make enamel pins and you want to make this design, you will need to take 100 of this design only for them to make it. And if you want another design, like this one, you will have to take 100 of this one for them to make it. So this can actually end up getting really expensive depending on the MOQ and how expensive the cost for your pin is, depending of, again, if what metal you want, what backing stamp you want, if you want screen printing and so on. Normally, and the size is also really important, but normally I would say one enamel pin, and don't hold on to this price too much. It highly depends on which manufacturer you work with as well, and how they price their pins and their work. But most enamel pins, if you order 100 of them, are between $150 to $400. And that's already a pretty big price range. And that is only for the pins themselves, not for the mold, because the mold fee you will have to pay on top. And that's also excluding shipping, which you will also have to pay on top. So making a single enamel pin design, let's just say you order 100 and you pay $400 just for that, for making 100 pins. They cost $4 each. And then you pay another 100 for the mold fee, you're at $500, and then you pay another, say 150 in shipping, you are at $650 for 100 enamel pins. And if you're really unlucky like me, you also do have to pay custom fees once the package arrives with you. So maybe that adds another $30 to $50 on top. So $600 to $700. And it normally takes around, I would say, a month in production. It depends on how busy your manufacturer is. A month in production, and then another 2 to 3 weeks to be sent to you. So give it good 2 months for these to arrive with you. So this is the entire process in somewhat simple terms of making enamel pins. And I hope, while this video might be a little bit boring because I'm just doing pin grading and backing cards, I hope this topic was still interesting to you guys. If you guys are ever interested in a more in-depth video about how to make enamel pins, I could definitely film a video for you guys where we go through the entire process from start to finish, where I do make the design and we go through all the steps you have to do with the file as well, and the vector files, talking to the manufacturer, making the pins, and the pins getting sent to you. If you would like that, let me know. I could definitely try that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video was a little bit more quiet and there was not much going on, but I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you guys for next week's vlog. Bye bye.